um, your opponent might pick up if it gets the Bucks behind. Even though that game they went BO3 the full series, but hold on. I'm going to keep my points to myself because the game has started, and this is what we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Land of Dawn as we are in our first match in this best of 3 between Notorious Villains and Explorer Collier, just going in and annoying his enemies here, looking to block the buff away.
And I feel like that's what exactly a Jawhead should do, right? It's basically what we saw in that previous game when there's a bit of a weird pick which Franco comes out. That Jawhead is actually delivering the same exact results and just Jawhead being annoying, looking for free hugs.
Looking for hugs, not finding any affection. Unfortunately, he's going to move back into the mid lane here. Pebble pushing across the river. It's going to get pressure out. So you have to be careful whenever there's a Jawhead on the enemy team. Overextend just a little too much and you get punished.
Yep, so Notorious Villains is like what we said, right? They're probably playing it a little bit slow. Not a lot of very super strong aggression coming out from that Jawhead, in my opinion. Yeah, but it is at the bottom side. It feels like Notorious Villains is going to up the ante right now as Bento will get busted down.
So remember what I said in draft. Early game, they have ways to get leads. One of them being the Benedetta, the second one being the Jawhead. Guess what? Fenrir makes the rotation. They get the early lead for the Benedetta. And this is a bridging tool. If you want to scale up to the late game, getting Benedetta strong early on is how you can sustain up to that point.
Yeah, it's exactly what Ryby did. But hold on a second, as Kolia is going to get called out, the flicker will be used as Dora finds that. But, well, unfortunately, the flicker will be there to save that day.
Now, Bento on Uranus has to be careful. After dying the once, he needs to respect Embassy now.
But okay, we gotta talk about the fact that the Notorious Villains initially were like what I said, right? They're trying to take it slow, but unfortunately they kind of just counteract. It make me a hypocrite right on the spot. But it is Notorious Villain that's going to start that total. 9 ejector on top of Dora. With the Dora, if they revitalize, but there's no entry point for Explorer to come in. That allows Notorious Villains. Look at Embassy coming in, but thank goodness for the dash coming out from Monchichi will be able to dash away, but it is Notorious Villains who secured that turtle.
Big problem starting out right now already for Explorer. So by right, this composition needs to excel early on.
That's right.
Bento should be cutting the wave with the Uranus. He's not doing that. In fact, that was what led to him dying to Embassy, right? If you play behind the tier 1, there's no way he fights you there for no reason. You just end up proxying the wave. So Bento misplaying on this Uranus just a little bit. The turtle fight there, where they found the pick with the ejector, is like a big bonus. It's a free present that Notorious Villains take. They cash it in, and now the economy is rolling.
Yeah, and remember what we said about 12-minute mark, right? Like getting all those gold, but it is Embassy right now getting caught out just slightly a little. But there you go. Oh, Febo finds that kill right behind that turret.
Comes in with the circling eagle and manages to get the kill, knocks him back. At least they find some consolations, but the goal lead is still there. It's about 800. Fenrir is going to get caught out. We'll have to dash away with the Russia Umbrella.
Yeah, and remember what we said, right? Notorious Villains need that gold lead, and you can see that gold lead, but hold on a second. Let's talk about the instant rehydrate. This is that Dora getting ejected right in front, and Notorious Villains just collapsing on top of Dora. Dora tried to spend a bit of more time to basically revitalize, but unfortunately that won't be necessary.
Another fight breaking on the main screen. Dara's now going to get focused down. Collier holding the front line for his team. A great injector back into the turret, and now Collier, he's going to have to flicker away.
Oh, Ego Descent coming on. We'll be able to burst 2 members down from the side of Notorious Villains. Now Explorer picking up the charge right here. Fenrir coming in a very bad spot. Monchichi super low, but will get fly away. Thank goodness for Pebble being that super annoying Mathilda, and that's why you banned that Mathilda. Basuna being the part. But hold on a second, a bit of a team fight happening, a 1v1 fight happening at the bottom side. But it is Bento being that Uranus, right? Super broken, can heal so much, and well, will be able to survive that.
So the big problem there is your big fed member, the early damage, Embassy. Nowhere near that fight. They took that 4v4. Suna arrives a bit too late, and even if he shows up to the fight, this is a carry with no strong items yet. There's no value to be found in the carry walking in. What he should be doing is just ignoring the team fight, moving to farm some other area in the jungle, and giving up the objective. But now, because of that, the goal lead has been taken by Explorer instead.
Yep, Kolia looking for some free hugs right there. We'll be finding the backline, but the Supercharger suppression going in as Dora will get melted down, and finally Embassy is there looking for the ultimate. Pebble as the ultimate as well. Dara will get busted down next on the list. Kaja dishing out the damage that's required. At the same time, double kill over the side of Ryby as well as Pebble picks up that mega kill on that carry. Carry doesn't have the items required to bust out the damage as Explorer took that team fight.
Great fight coming in. They leverage all their early potential in this composition. You can see the power of the Matilda. This is why it's 100% pick ban. If your opponents step up a bit too far, you use the circling ego and just knock back whoever is next to them, right? Even though it targets a single person, if anyone's standing next to them, they get punished as well.
Yep, Collier, we feel that that previous team fight extended way too far for the side of Notorious Villains to catch up. Yes, MPTZ comes in, but unfortunately a little bit too late. Collier looking for the ejector, will be tossing Dora all the way back. Notorious Villains, they are trying to contest for that turtle. Explorer is not allowing that, as both will meet slightly and then abandon mission.
That ejector was onto the Baxia, so it's not really the target you want. He doesn't take a lot of damage. It's hard to kill him off. Dara, though, in a weird position here. He's going to get pulled in by the counter.
Right, suppressing Dara all the way as Baxia jumps in, but overshot just a little bit. Fenrir, the members of Notorious Villains trying to push out, but MPTZ jumping in with the ultimate will be able to find Monchichi as well. Monchichi goes down. MPTZ and Suna finally going on a ride, but unfortunately it is Pebble that's unstoppable. The Odak goalie going to Pebble, that's a little bit too hard. Pebble coming in, the turtle a little bit low. The retribution will be there, securing that Notorious Villain, that turtle.
Yeah, nowhere in that fight was Bento, right? The Uranus was stuck pushing in mid lane, was unable to really contribute. And the movement from Notorious Villains, they push the fight towards the top side. So they don't really have to, kite down towards the Uranus. Gives them the man advantage.
Yep, and of course, the fact that Notorious Villain, they kind of push that fight towards the top side so that Explorer don't get to try to steal away that turtle right under their noses. And because of that, Notorious Villains was able to secure the turtle for their own. Yes, Explorer has that lead right now, but that Pebble is on a roll right here. Remember what we talked about, David versus Goliath thing? That Pebble is the one that might be actually taking down the Notorious Villain, but Kolya with the unstoppable force jumping on in, but Ambostizi now super low. Dara on the full blood. Oh, Dora tries to chase. Ryby on the side, but there's a little bit not lack of follow-up coming out from the side of Explorer.
Now look at the main map. Uranus is just split pushing by himself. That was a 4v5 that they managed to pick off, especially because they got Kagura early on. Pebble on this Matilda is just making
the dream work.
Yeah. All you have to do is really just single a target with the Circling Eagle, right? All he does is single one person out, the rest of the team collapse. So it's very plain to see why Matilda is so highly valued as we take a look at this instant replay here towards the top turtle.
Towards the top turtle, I feel like Dara overstepped. It's a little bit too far. But I feel like Dora kind of spin a bit too late, and Embers comes on in. The Fender actually got caught up, but the fact that, that Matilda is just dishing out so much damage, it's just way too hard for Notorious Villains to catch up.
So look at the timer right now. It's almost 8 minutes. The gold is about 2.5k in favor of Explorer. This is not the biggest, right? Notorious Villains, as they scale up, the gold gap doesn't feel as impactful as it does in the early game. So Ola now, it's actually going to put a Kasha in. This is important.
Right, unstoppable force will be landing on top. Right, but it's suppression going in. Kolya forced to use a flicker, but that's not enough. As Monchichi coming on in, that Sonata misses. Dara is barely survives the encounter right there as Dora leads the charge. Pebble standing by just in case if anything happens, as both sides were going to be disengaging and actually contesting that blue buff right now. Dora leading the charge once again. Pebble goes on in as the Rhapsody finds Renner right the side. And Basiki trying in looking for Dora instead, but that's not the target that you should be looking out for. You should be trying to be looking out for Pebble or even that Granger. But unfortunately, as Notorious Villains would take one, as Explorer takes one as well.
Suna starting to get to the power point in terms of scaling this turtle. Very important. If they can pick it up before 9 minutes, they get a small win for themselves. And of course, Lord is going to be spawning
here
soon.
Comes Bento. Here comes Bento being a nuisance right now. Will get ejected right on away.
Oh,
but
Kaja.
Turtle still coming out from Kaja. It's absolutely necessary for Explorer to make sure they have that lead that struggled so hard to build up.
Oh man, that was a big oof coming out from Notorious Villains. Unable to secure the objective. They get the turtle stolen away.
And it's not even a retribution, mind you.
It's just Kaja doing Kaja things.
But let's take a look at the instant rehydrate right now. I believe that's the point.
Take a look at this here. Dora on the backline gets caught by Ambostizi, but he kind of dashes over the wall to blue for some weird reason instead of going for Pebble. The play always unfolds the same way, right? If Explorer overextends, there's a way for Notorious Villains to punish with Fenrir's Yin Yang overturn, as long as the Kagura stays alive.
Yep, as Dora leads the charge once again, Notorious Villain will be focusing down on top of Pebble. No more damage to you, no more Matilda. But Monchichi coming in with the Death Sonata. Ryby being such a nuisance. Dara struggles to stay alive. Bento coming in. That Uranus looking menacing. But as Notorious Villain is forced to back away. Explorer 2k gold lead as MPTZ is just struggling to do some damage off the other side on the map.
You lose Collier, you get Pebble. That's a win for Notorious Villains. Like, Collier dying is to be expected. If he survives, that's the surprise, right? Because he's always going to be running in first with the ejector. So For him to die, it's completely fine. Pebble getting shut down, though, is important. Now he's 8-1-5. Take a look at this, though. The blue buff actually getting stolen. Fenrir going in on the Yin Yang overturn. He's looking to get damage. Look at all of that. What a massive play coming in. And in the backline is the Alice just draining them down. Notorious Villains, they found the choke that they need. And Fenrir going in, setting it up for his team.
Yeah, and that's really good play, right? You see how the early game matchup is slowly catching up as Notorious Explorer is starting to lose priority in terms of that damage. Notorious Villain is slowly gaining it because Suna, he's on the roll right here. Fenrir is starting to start to hurt like a truck, but Dora, he cannot give himself away that easily all the time.
I tell you, Chris, so hold on. We're going to get picked off.
We're going to get it picked off, but the heal coming out from Uranus is just way too much. As Kolya, Unstoppable Force will land just a little bit, but Bento being super nuisance right now. The ejector will be used on top of MPTZ instead, tossing it right on back. But it is Explorer and Dora once again leading the charge, finds that Kolya will be able to lock him down. Pebble following up, but at the same time, Notorious Villains is actually fighting the fight on two fronts. Bento leading a one-man army right there as the Explorer is managing to push Notorious Villains away.
11 minutes on the clock. This is starting to hit the point I talked about, right? 12 minutes is when Notorious Villains get strong. Another fight breaking out, though.
Another fight picking up, but I don't think the Notorious Villains want to pick up that fight. They really are kind of behind in terms of get gold lead. They can see it. They need their item. They need to grow sooner now.
They need to reset and regroup is what they need to do. Bento getting caught out. He might die here if they eject him in. Lord is up, so members of Explorer are just going to walk over and try to aggro this, right? It's still pretty healthy, so there's no reason for them to really start on this. Take a look at the items on Suna right now. 2 big items already completed. Of course, one of them being the jungle item and then the Demon Hunter Sword done also, with the rest of his team filling up their own items as well.
But I would say that Explorer right now hanging around this Lord, Notorious Villain, they catch the memo, but look, eyes on top of Bento, just doing Bento things, doing Uranus things, that one single man army. So Explorer and Notorious Villains will send Dara right on down. So right now this is going to be turning to 4v4. Dara leaps over the wall, will get bursted down slightly. Pebble right there to save him out. Death Sonata lands on top of Kolya, but not much damage.
They used the tortoise for poise already, so this is now they're going to engage it.
Ejector going in with the flicker as well. Dora is the second, but the suppression on top of Fenrir will take him down by Monchichi. Pebble going in, leading the charge. Bento coming in for the flank. Kolya on full retreat. Notorious Villains at the same time. Suna is still alive, but not anymore because Bento is just leading this one-man charge against Notorious Villains, and he is just unstoppable as a Uranus.
That was a 6 suppression coming onto Fenrir. He couldn't get the Yin Yang overturn off, and that means that your team fight is absolutely destroyed. Notorious Villains, their composition relies on Alice going to the backline after being scaled up and having the Yin Yang overturn from Fenrir, buying space for them. You can see once that pick is down, once the Kagura is dead, they can't team fight.
Take a look at this replay. Claudia tries to make a play, but then you can see Ryby just making the dream work. Remember what I talked to you about Explorer, all eyes on top of Ryby. But then again, the fact that Alice is trying to melt, but there's not enough damage as the members of Explorer is just repeating on top of Dara.
Yeah, look at this, this is why I hate Alice so much. Like, Winter Truncheon is good and all, but he doesn't do any damage. Like, they just run away, and once he's out of the Winter Truncheon, they come back and kill him, right?
Yep. With the Lord marching down on the top side of Notorious Villains. Notorious Villains struggles to scrounge as much gold as possible. Okay. 4k gold lead in the favor of Explorer right now. Notorious Villains, they've got to defend, but you have 2 armies to face. Make it 3 with that Uranus, that Lord, and another bunch of Explorers.
Yeah, I think he has the Endless Battle done already. So Suna has 2 core items plus his jungle gear, which is probably as good as it's going to get for now. We'll see if they can make the fight work. Remember, Fenrir has to stay alive and Suna has to do damage in the backline.
Yeah, as the top side, the Lord gets taken down. Super easy for Suna, right? Because Suna does have a lot of pushing power. But Bento, once again, leading the charge. Kolya will be able to eject Dora right on in, but he is going to lose that life. The Rhapsody damage is just too much for Notorious Villains to handle as Explorer. Yes, they just trade off Dora for Kolya. It's still safe. It's still fair in the game. The game could go into both sides. It's still going to be a 4v4.
Off-tank for off-tank, not a big issue now. Thankfully, Explorers, they didn't overcommit. Fenrir immediately popped the Yin Yang overturn and they saw that. They all backed out. Of course, they sacrificed Dora because, like, you'd rather lose 1 than 5. The game plan for Notorious Villains is starting to come in terms of how they need to team fight, but Kolya needs to be very careful who he ejects.
Yep.
If he pulls the Kasha in and he suppresses Fenrir, it's like, GG, dude, report this guy.
Yeah, every time when I see a Joehead on my team, I instantly have trust issues, right? It can either eject someone that requires that gap closer, and basically, Kolya is sus.
Collier is sus. This guy is a imposter, right? So Explorer right now, they have this small goal lead of 5k, but as the game goes on, right, their composition doesn't scale as well. Granger is good and all, but the late game doesn't really feel like that strong for them. Take a look at this, immediately the Yin Yang overturn coming up. That's when they disengage, right? You can see the Simon Umbrella in the center, forcing this line. They can't step past this, otherwise you die.
Yep, and right now I believe the Explorer and Notorious Villains, they want to play around that Lord. That Lord is still taking a bit more time to take. However, I feel like as the time goes by, Notorious Villains is going to climb in terms of that gold lead. As of now, MPL on that Benedetta is not going to be very relevant anymore unless he's trying to find Monchichi. However, Collier right now, he has to be careful whoever he ejects. And Notorious Villain probably have to play that pick, but Bento is the Uranus that's just pretty much unstoppable right now.
He's still killable if they get onto him because Suna does a lot of damage. Bento still sustaining through though. As you can see the backline. Look at this flank coming in. It's going to be massive on Fenrir.
Oh, as Fenrir will be able to catch Suna. Suna is down. Explorer now on full force. They see Suna goes down. Fenrir goes down. Next down is Ambustizi. As Pebble and Dora are still leading the charge. Monchichi is trying to find some more damage as well. Dora finds Dara as well. Will be able to take him down without a doubt. And that is absolute spells disaster over to Notorious Villains. What happened?
That shadow mask into the flank. Remember the two key targets,
That's
Suna
right.
and Fenrir. Because they came in invisible, they immediately killed off Suna first. Fenrir dies next, and now your prime targets are dead. You can't team fight. Explorer with the amazing flank coming in with the shadow mask, win the first game.
Wow, that is absolutely unexpected because you know what we talk about. Notorious Villains, they're so confident right now in terms of, they've beaten Forsaken. But now Explorer, this underdog, manages to bite Notorious Villains.
I think the ending game strat, you can see like they're so relieved, they're so happy because that was a 1 out of a million play. Like whoever made that call was super brilliant to say the only two targets we need to kill is the Kogura as well as the carry. The only way we do that is we invest into the backline, we get a good flank off, and Bento on their Uranus, right? This is why Uranus is 100% pick ban. They focused all their attention on him, they brought him down to half health, he's able to buy space, back off, and allow or force the enemy to overcommit so that his teammates can come in for the flank.
Yeah, I feel like if you want to find a masterpiece out of this particular game, that last team fight was absolutely fine. Because as you can take a look at the scoreboard right now,